much, Program Director, and greetings to the BBC BE family, the Deputy President of BBC BE, and the National President of SAWIC, Mekile Mteto, the CEO of BBC BE, and the Vice President of Organized Business in BBC, Ntate Gregory Mfukeng, and Melusi Mwabeni, the Deputy President of SAWIC, and the leadership of BBC BE Youth, Ntate Refileli Lidira and your team, and all members of BBC BE family who have joined us in this summit. My role, indeed, it is to welcome you all in today's event, which is it is termed the largest or the biggest summit, Women's Summit. As we know that we are in August, which is titled Women's Month, and it is encouraging to see our youth starting to recognize the role that was played by women in this country. As the theme of our summit is titled The Year of Charlotte Mateke, and we know that there is a lot in common, you know, with us and the youth, the women in the BBC BE family, with regard to what has been achieved by Mayor Charlotte Mateke. We know that she is the first Black woman to graduate with a university degree, and not just a university degree, but a BSc degree from the Wilberforce University in Ohio that was achieved in 1903. And what bring Mayor Charlotte Mateke closer to us as BBC BE, an organization of business people in the built environment. We know that some of her achievements were made possible by her father, Chief Mama Farah Mokhupa, who had gained employment at the road construction company, and that has enabled Mayor Charlotte to be part of the choir, which traveled the world, and where they ended up in North America, where she attended her studies. And what stand out between us and Mayor Charlotte and the likes of the women who were, you know, in the struggle with her is that it was difficult, and even with us, BBC BE, it is still difficult, where we're still trying to make sure that transformation happens in the construction industry. We know that our designated groups, our youth, our women, people from rural areas are still struggling, you know, to participate, you know, meaningfully in the mainstream of the construction industry. We know that most of our clients, in particular the public sector, they don't give much attention or consideration, you know, that we still have our designated groups who are not yet empowered, and they are participating in the periphery, you know, at the end of the value chain with regard to the construction industry. And we know that the same difficulties that we are facing, it was faced by the likes of Charlotte Mateke, you know, when they decided as women, you know, to march against the apartheid system and go and dump what you call the dumpers. They marched against the past laws, you know, to make sure that the women's rights are realized. So the same spirit of Charlotte Matseke should be embedded within us as BBCBE, BBCBE Youth, and also within SAWIC, you know, to make sure that we give the same effort, you know, undivided attention up until we achieve our space within the construction industry, you know, and we know that at this stage, there are forces, organizations, which make sure that they reverse the gains, you know, that we fought for, and within the procurement space of government. So we have to be vigilant and make sure that we come up with ways to help government, you know, to fight those who are hell-bent on reversing the gains we've achieved. And as BBCBE, we have been, you know, talking to government, lobbying government, you know, to make sure that the regulations and the policies which are not favorable, you know, to the construction industry and to the business at all, are, you know, the government get rid of such regulations. We have been advocating for a long time that the PPPFA should be get rid of, you know, and recently we have put a document together which talks to the public procurement regulations, which will make sure that instead of using the 90-10, instead of using the 80-20, where the 80 and the 90 refers to the price, which is unjust, because the people who are competing with, they already have those resources within their groups. And when they come and compete with us, they put a wholesale price or they put the cost price. Those are the unjust. And this is not just the beginning. That is the process which we'll have to embark on and continue to make sure that our youth, our women, they realize the dreams of participating in the mainstream of the economy. And we know that construction, it is one of the biggest catalysts, you know, to make sure that we contribute and we build the economy of this country. So on that note, I will then take this opportunity, you know, to wish all of us well in the summit, making sure that the deliberations will benefit us. It will open doors that are closed, and also make sure that we come up with a document, you know, that we can present to our stakeholders, in this case, government. And let me take this opportunity in closing to welcome you and all. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Chris. And I did not make a mistake by saying the captain, because he does lead us very well. And I mean, the background that was given just now shows exactly how well aligned our team to our event are, because we do honor a woman who also benefited greatly in her life through the construction or built environment. And this industry really has changed a lot of lives, and it is well to be well acknowledged. Young people at the BBCBE Youth, together with SAWIC BE, we're very active, we're very vibrant. We are acknowledging the importance of the built environment, and we are making a mark for ourselves, not only for us, but for other young people that are in South Africa. Kindly note that membership to both the BBCBE Youth and SAWIC BE are always welcomed. Once you've learned, gotten your motivation levels right, email info@bbcbe.org and you will be assisted with signing up as a member. Mam Lucy, our matriarch, you've been very patient, and I apologize because technology has again taught us to be agile with everything that's taking place. The Deputy President of SAWIC, a co-pilot of Zimbogodo, we welcome you on the virtual stage.
Thank you very much. Younger, a young woman, very active and very energetic. This is a great day. This is a very, very important day. May I start by greeting everybody in this summit? President of BBCBE, our newly elected president, Utata Wetu, Utata Umasimini, Vice President of BBCBE, Tate Mfukeng, my own president that I'm so proud of, Mama wethu Mamkile Mthetho. I will be failing if I don't send my regards to umama wethu Imbokodo, umama uBathabile Dlamini, onguchairperson weShra, umama wethu osikhokheleyo nakumbutho omkhulu womama wethu ongu-ANC Women's League. Ukidiboni uthe hashtag the year of Charlotte Maxeke. NOBs present here, our PECs. I think a lot has been said, lots of information has been given on the videos, so I don't need to go technically. I don't need to take more time. I will start by saying the theme is relevant because we are indeed celebrating the year of Umama wethu Mama Charlotte Maxeke. And we know it was not just an effort or just a child's play when they mobilized women in the whole country, bengena's cell phone, bengena's moto, but they managed to go to the union building. They managed to send their message, and somebody really died because he didn't listen to them. On this note, I want to say, as women, as young women, we are now faced with lemons. You will understand me when I go forward. The first lemon is the pandemic that has affected lots of us as women, being head of family, being providers. Secondly, poverty has been playing with us, and it's worsened as we are speaking, as Kidiboni and my president has already mentioned. Thirdly, the scourge of domestic violence again took a huge part in our lives, and we cannot run away from it. Those are the lemons that I've decided to identify today, my president of SAWIC. But what are we saying then moving forward? Our strategy and our belief in SAWIC and BE is to turn lemons into lemonade. How are we gonna do that? I'm speaking to you, young women. I'm proud and bold because SAWIC and BE were very effective in establishing the structure that we are talking about today, which is BBCB Youth. These lemons, as the NOB of SAWIC, we have came up now with a system. I'm doing this as I'm doing my comment, because it's important to understand as people that izinto azizilula. Zizi lemon, but when you turn your lemon into lemonade, it's when now you win the battle. Whilst you are talking about following in the footsteps of Umam Charlotte Maxeke, we are saying, we as people, we as mothers, we as women, singoma kontraka. We call ourselves Oma kontraka, whether you're an engineer, whether you're a professional, whether you are providing any service, whether a good developer, we are summing up by saying singoma kontraka. Even simple when we put it like that. We are saying we've declared on our own we're gonna multiply Charlotte Maxeke, and we're gonna work and walk on the footsteps of Charlotte Maxeke, because one, Mom Charlotte Maxeke never waited for things to come to her. Mom Charlotte Maxeke never waited for favors. Mom Charlotte Maxeke never said no, because it's so difficult, because we've got this attitude of saying, oh, kunzima is difficult. I can't get into construction. I can't challenge these people. I can't challenge this economy. So as this SAWIC and BE, we took a strong position to say we're gonna be Mama Charlotte Maxeke. We're gonna walk on the path of Mama 1956, but now our walk is different because now we are talking about economy. We are talking about economic emancipation. Okidibon has mentioned issue trillions in infrastructure. We have mentioned, Udibabu Den Masimin has mentioned a lot of projects, inclusion, Yes, Kidiboni, yes. And my panelists, yes. Our leaders and our members. We agree that as SAWIC and as BBCPE, we are not only representing all Mama Abazi members, we are saying we are the voice of young women, of women in the industry across the board. So we are a force to reckon with. And I will be failing not to mention Ishogutu Mama Lidwe Sisulu. We are grateful because you took us in 2015 when you came back to human settlement. And I think you helped us to level the playing field. When we came to you talking about 30%, you took it on. Because we are the people who started the dialogue on the 30%. We're in parliament physically with the team. And today we are talking about if 40% that our state president were to His Excellency, but again, I'm saying, if we want to walk in the footsteps as Gamam Charlotte Maklake, that 40% will not come to us folding hands. So we need to intensify our struggle for our own emancipation. We need not to be apologetic in claiming our space. We need that 30%, Babden Masimin, because we've done everything and the playing field has been leveled. Charlotte Makleke, who are the NOP of SAWIC, have went as far as signing MOUs with 4 institutions. We've signed with Human Settlement. Thank you, Mama Lidwe Sisulu. We've signed with Ishra. Thank you, Mama Batabile Dlamini. We've signed with HDA. And we got a bonus because we've signed with Water Research Council. What does it say to you, young women, our mothers, and to our leaders? We are not gonna take any no. We're not gonna take any, it cannot happen because the playing field has been leveled. We want to interpret these MOUs now.
Sorry to interrupt. I think next time we are definitely going to make you our keynote address. I think that was an oversight on our side because there's a lot to be said, but there's a lot of very, very important things to be learned as well. And a lot of great work that's been done by your team and the ladies at SAWIC. And the great thing that I absolutely know about SAWIC is we're paving the way for young people. So in the interest of time, I'm going to have to ask you, please, that we move on because we have a very tight program and a lot of our panelists are only available for the scheduled time. So we cannot.
Okay, but I'm still within my 10 minutes, Kidi. I've got the watch next to me.
Unfortunately, Mama, we have technical issues. Honestly, I have to. It's not because I want to. We really, really have to appreciate the people, including yourself, who've made time to be here. We're just really running against time. If you can please just wrap it up in one.
Let me wrap it up again by saying the last thing I'm gonna say is our motto is to translate the MOUs and turn those lemons into lemonades and put money in women's wallets. May I wish this summit a success. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I mean, by listening to Ma'am Lucy, I think everyone can tell how passionate this SAWIC and the BBCBE are about true empowerment. And this is why we did not make a mistake by including Ma'am Lucy in the beginning, because we knew she would set the tone and have everyone understand where we are going. So if there's one thing COVID-19 has taught us, it is to be agile. A few of our speakers, including our keynote address, could not join us due to national duty. But guess what? I'm the fortunate one who has not 1, not 2, but 6 keynote speakers in my discussion one. So I'm very excited to hear from my panelists. But before we go there, I think it would be so wrong if I did not acknowledge what we term as the fixer or a top skelegek. And I know he's not going to be very happy that I'm calling him that. Allow us to welcome the BBCBE CEO, the Youth Chambers, Ntatemufuke, can you please help us, AKA the fixer, the newly appointed Deputy President of Business in the Black Business Council. We truly are proud. Welcome to the virtual stage, Mr. CEO.
Thank you very much, Madam Program Director. And let me take this opportunity to acknowledge you, also in your capacity as the SG of the BBCB Youth Chamber. Let me greet the President of the BBCBE, Mr. Denny Masimeni, the Deputy President of the BBCB, and also SAWIC President, Meki Lemteto. Let me also take this opportunity to greet the Deputy President of SAWIC, and also a BBCB Council member, Melusi Wabeni, and the chairperson of the BBCB Youth Chamber, and the Refilo Ridiha, and your collective leadership, and to all guests and speakers who are with us today. We are honored as the BBCB to be given this opportunity to deliver the message of support for this particular summit. The BBCB is this year 14 years old. We were established in 2007, and we are affiliated to our mother body, the Confederation, the Black Business Council. And our coverage is around the built environment sector. And just to orientate those of us who are not familiar with our work as the BBCBE, we organize as a business chamber all the members of the BBC who are operating in the built environment space. We're talking about professionals, our engineers, our architects, our project managers, quantity surveyors, and so on. We also organize contractors who do the actual building of the infrastructure, and also our suppliers and manufacturers. This is our coverage, colleagues, under the Black Business Council in the built environment. We also have a membership, various membership categories. We have member organizations. We've already mentioned SAWIC, South African Women in Construction. They are part and parcel of the members that fall under the category of membership organizations. In that category, we also have NAFCO Construction, SAPTACO, South African Fire Development Association, Lift Professional Development Agency, and so forth. We also have corporates who come and join us directly as members. And last but not least, the Youth Chamber, which then it completes the category of our membership here at BBCBE. And the question is, what do we do? Colleagues, we are a business chamber. What we do is that we wake up every day, we assess the business environment within which our members operate and undertake measures to influence the environment in order to ensure that we create a conducive environment for our members to run sustainable businesses. So that's what we do. Our work is to influence policy. Our work is to make sure that we change policies that are there as a hindrance, policies that are not supportive to our members' businesses thriving. Our work is to change those policies and make sure that in the end, we have a transformed construction industry and a transformed economy in our country. Our vision, colleagues, is to be the foremost transformation agent in the South African built environment landscape. And our mission is to lead the evolution of the built environment legislative and regulatory landscape in order to create a transformed, empowered, inclusive, modern, caring, and economic enhancing built environment sector. As I've already indicated that our work is around policy development, there are two pieces of legislation that are critical that we are working on at the moment and which should anchor the discussions today. One of the first one of those is the 40% set aside for women as announced by the president in the previous State of the Nation address. Colleagues, this is very important because if we want to empower our women, we must ensure that they have access to opportunities so that they can be able to participate meaningfully in the economy of our country. We are taking government head on this matter, and we are going to ensure that as the legislation process is developed, this 40% set aside is embedded in that legislation. Our frustration is always that politicians often stand up before the public and make certain pronouncements, but you'll find that those pronouncements are not followed through by legislation. So we then have a problem where politicians say one thing, but the legislation says another. Our work in that regard as an organization is to make sure that what is pronounced by politicians is actually translated into legislation so that in the end, we can have a legislative environment that is supportive of empowering our members. The second piece of legislation that we are busy with and work has already been done in this regard is what the President, Mr. Masimene, alluded to earlier, the Public Procurement Act. We have already done a lot of work in this regard, and we are looking forward to this act being promulgated, and we are looking forward to having engagement with the new Minister of Finance so that the process can be expedited for the enactment of this legislation. What is key for us and especially pertinent today to our youth, is that we have proposed that this legislation must also have set asides for designated groups, but also make sure that women and youth are prioritized as part of those set asides. So these are two pieces of legislation, colleagues, that are on our table, and we are doing everything in our power to make sure that our government can finally make sure that these policies are enacted so that we can empower our youth and our women in real economic matters. And we are not just talking rhetoric around matters of youth and women empowerment. Finally, colleagues, I've been requested to tell you a little bit about the BBCBE Investment Holdings Company. As you know, our organizations cannot only survive on membership fees. Our members are experiencing tough economic conditions. And in order to be able to ensure that there is sustainability as far as our organization is concerned, we have established the BBCBE Investment Holdings Company. This company is open for business, and it is 100% owned by the BBCBE, and we are already engaged in certain partnerships in the facilities management space, and we are open for business and want to encourage both members and non-members to partner with us as they identify opportunities out there so that we can be able to together unlock opportunities for both our members as well as external stakeholders who might not necessarily be members but are interested to partner together with us. So we are open for business, colleagues, and we look forward to approaches from yourselves in order for us to exploit those economic opportunities together. Finally, Program Director, there is a little bit of information that I read about Charlotte Maxeke in relation to the theme of today's summit. It is recorded that Charlotte Maxeke was there when the ANC was founded in 1912 on the 8th of January. And as a woman, she was not allowed to speak in that gathering because women were not allowed at the time to address such occasions. And I think the effect that the 1956 march has had in today's world is that Bomme Charlotte Maxeke and other leaders of their time, Bomme Sophie Brain, have made sure that women have a voice. So I think this is one of the most important things, that from the 8th of January 1912, we now have a dispensation that allows women to have a voice and to be able to put their issues on the table and to speak for their own agenda and advance their own agenda. Madam Program Director, thank you very much for this opportunity. And let me take also this opportunity to wish you and everyone else a successful summit. Thank you very much.
Now, this event would not be what it is if it was not for institutions and organizations that believe in the youth and women, those who walk the talk, you know what I mean? We're proud to be supported by the National Housing Finance Corporation, known as the NHFC. Which recently, together with our CEO, hosted a very informative webinar. Hey guys, I'm telling you, if you're in the built environment, aspire to be, or even studying to be in the industry, and you're not a member of the BBCBE Youth and SAWIC and BE, you're simply sleeping on yourself. Anyways, please join me in welcoming Mr. Lindo Ndlovu from NHFC, one of our gold sponsors. We are truly honored. Thank you, Ntate.
Okay, good morning. Thanks a lot, Kiriboni. I would like to just fly the presentation for the members. And I guess you are able to see my screen at the moment, yeah?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, beautiful. Thanks a lot. Look, I greet the leadership of the BBCBE and all the participants that are in the webinars, and I've seen very big names that are in the participants here. So I really do greet them for this event, and really it is an event. So as the NHFC, we also do find ourselves in a situation where we recognize that there is much more that needs to be done, particularly for our youth and our women. So particularly, I've tried and customize this presentation to try and speak to the youth, because I understand that it is a youth forum that we are meeting in. So this is just the general content of my presentation. We'll just go through the overview about the NHFC, the value proposition, and the application process, the barriers to finance that have been identified, and the enabling credit policy initiatives that have been drafted by the NHFC. And then those projects that have previously been funded by the NHFC and are youth-owned or youth-managed. Overview of the NHFC. It was established in the year 1996 as a development finance institution with the mandate of serving the households' evolving needs of access to affordable, adequate housing environments in terms of the mandate that has been given to the NHFC. As at the end of March 2020, we had total asset of about 6.3 billion and liabilities which stood about 1.6 billion. And our funding status is that we are self-sustaining, meaning that whatever that we lend out, the NHFC does expect that it be repaid so that it can be recirculated to also assist other entities. The NHFC is a Schedule 3A entity in terms of the PFMA. We support the delivery of housing through the provision of affordable housing finance. Our target markets are households that earn regular income between 800 Rand and up to 22,000 Rand per month. Effective on the 1st of October, the Rural Housing Loan Fund and National Urban Reconstruction Housing Agency were merged into the National Housing Finance Corporation with an intention of formation of the Human Settlements Development Bank, which will aim to deliver sustained, equitable, and accessible value creation by effectively and efficiently providing quality funding and financial support for the development of integrated human settlements throughout South Africa. So at the NHFC, these are the product offerings. I think this is the main that I'm trying to get across to all the participants in today's forum, that these are the product offerings which are available to all those that do have an interest in them. The first one is the social housing finance, which is a form of subsidized rental accommodation. The NHFC participates in this sector by providing long-term finance to social housing institutions or other delivery agents that develop affordable rentals for households that are earning between 1,500 Rand and up to 15,000 Rand. How the NHFC basically, in summary, participates is that as an SHI or an ODA, you do have to approach the SHRA for the opportunities and you get accredited, and then you bring on board your project and it will be accredited. And then if your project is successful, you'll be able to obtain a CCG. And then once you've obtained the CCG, the NHFC then is able to grant the top-up debt financing between 30 and up to 35% of the total development cost, and then the 70% or 65% would have been accessed from the Social Housing Regulatory Authority. So that's the social housing finance. And then we also do have privately owned rental accommodation or student accommodation, where you find that a developer is owning or would like to own a certain building, and you rent out that building to the general public. You can approach the NHFC and say, NHFC, I've identified an opportunity where I could be able to construct accommodation that I'll be renting at affordable market rate. And then the NHFC is also able to assist with the long-term financing up to 80% of the total development cost. And then the remainder has to be contributed in the form of equity by the developer, which can also be sourced from other funding institutions. So others, we do have other developers that would approach the NHFC saying, look, I have identified an opportunity for student accommodation. I would like to be a student accommodation provider. The NHFC does also provide with long-term financing for the development of student accommodation projects throughout South Africa, closer to the institutions of learning, can be TVET colleges or universities. And then we also do offer subsidy, bridging subsidy housing finance, where you find that as a contractor, you've been awarded a tender either by local government or by the municipality, and then you just require bridging finance so that you can be able to kickstart your project. The NHFC does offer that bridging finance for those contractors that have been successfully awarded that tender. We also do have affordable housing, where you find that as a developer, again, you've identified an opportunity and then you'd like to construct accommodation. It can either be sectional title units or it can be freestanding units that you'd like to develop and then sell off to the market at affordable housing prices. Affordable, we just basically meaning that the developments that have been funded by the NHFC, they cannot have selling prices that are in excess of 850,000. So that is subsidy housing finance and affordable housing accommodation. We also do have strategic partnerships where you find that the NHFC is able to partner with industry practitioners in order to be able to deliver on affordable housing, where you find that the project probably is of a nature that it's bigger than probably the investor, and then you'd require other private investors to come in on board for the particular development. The NHFC does also offer that product to its those that are interested, those contractors and developers that do have an interest. We also do offer incremental housing. Incremental housing, it's offered to micro lenders that are registered with the NCR. What happens is that they are able to access a wholesale funding from the NHFC, and then they can be able to go on and on lend to people that would like to improve their housing conditions in areas probably where you find that there's no title deeds. It's more aimed towards rural, and also urban areas are not excluded. We also do have FLISP, which is Finance Linked Individual Subsidy Program. This is the only program where the NHFC is able to interact directly with the members of the public. It's a grant for first-time home buyers that would like to acquire their first home. They approach the bank, and then once you've been pre-approved by the bank, then you're able to approach the NHFC for that grant. So there is a cascading balance scale that is used in order to be able to say, for somebody probably that is earning between 3,500 and 3,600, you are able to access a grant of about 120 something thousand. And then there's program and fund management, which is where the NHFC participates through the provision of implementing agents support. Probably just to rush into the value proposition for the youth that the NHFC has in offer is that the NHFC does not expect the tangible security offered for loans up to 15 million and partial security for loans up to 150 million. We also do, as the NHFC, offer equity and quasi opportunity, which creates an opportunity for the youth to potentially reduce the loan amount of equity that could be required. We also see social housing as an opportunity, which the youth can be able to enter the sector through the accreditation process that is afforded at the SHRA, and then there is no equity requirement or equity contribution that has been that is required. An incubation unit has also been set up by the NHFC that assist startup in getting incorporated and readiness to access NHFC loans. We also do reduce equity to as low as 20% for bridging finance affordable and subsidy housing finance. And then these are our target that the NHFC has set for themselves to say that, look, in the financial year, we do say that for the next financial year, 35% of disbursement should be to women and youth-owned entities. So these are the numbers for the next MTF period. And then this is 566 million for the 2025 financial year was disbursed to youth-owned entities. And then we're saying that, look, in terms of the NHFC, we do participate. We've seen projects that have been funded to the youth-owned entity. And then between May last year and March this year, we've seen about 670 youth households that have been able to access FLISP, and then 40 million in value has been dispersed to those youth and youth households. So probably in a nutshell, this is what the NHFC is saying. Probably because of time, I'll try and keep my presentation as short as possible. This is a project that have been funded by the NHFC previously. Thank you a lot. These are our contact details for any participant that would like to access assistance from the NHFC. Thank you.